Welcome to Tech Ties and Human Vibes, where we explore the tech that powers modern businesses and drives innovation. I'm Adam, and with me is Nancy. We'll be talking to entrepreneurs, innovators, and industry experts about the tools they use, the challenges they face, and how technology is shaping the future of work. Let's dive in.
Right.
You were an MSP a couple times in your life, and you still identify as one today, even though you're not, but you are self-identified as an MSP. Um,
I feel like
when
that like some and maybe this is telling of like where I grew up, but I'm like, there's like a gang sign or something here that needs to be done for MSPs. I don't know. Like MSP forever, MSP for life.
there should be some sort of gang sign that all you guys you know who's who just by flashing, you know. But,
Does it count that I tattooed my MSP's logo on myself?
oh,
Now I'm an MSP forever.
that is hysterical. Yeah, I'm not even going to say anything about that. Wait, is it one of the ones you've had removed, or are you still in there?
No, I will not remove that one. I worked
Ah,
really hard for that one.
well, then you should keep it.
Um, yeah, I should. And it's oh God, I guess now we have to also people, if you know me, you know the story of my tattoo removal and all of that. If you don't know me, maybe catch another episode and maybe that's a I don't know, after hours one.
After hours.
Ask me about it in person someday. How
There
about
you
that?
go. There you go.
But yeah, I still have it. It's I won't ever remove it. I worked way too hard for that. And I was just incredibly proud that I accomplished something that no one that ever was in my immediate circle had ever done before. And so yeah, I wanted it to be permanently on me.
That's
And that's what it is, what it means to me to be an MSP for life. So
So you become an MSP straight out of high school, right? Or were you still in high school when you started?
no, so I graduated and then interned in a break fix shop.
Okay.
So this was before I even knew that a term of MSP existed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a computer repair shop that I went and interned after high school.
And then from there, you decided to go ahead and do it on your own.
Yep, yep. So I was
So
22 and had been working. I had started off in the back office of the break fix shop, doing the take in, doing some of the accounting and bookkeeping, so learning the business side of things in that sense. And then curiosity led me to wanting to help on the computer side of things. And then at 22, my ex-husband and I decided that we could just do it on our own and started our own shop. We had a 3-year-old and a newborn at the time. Which like why?
yeah,
now,
exactly.
now I'm like why? But yeah, we thought we had different ideas and we wanted to serve people in a different way. We thought that we could do it better ultimately, and which is what innovation is all about. We were listening to what our customers were wanting, and they were wanting something proactive. The At the time that wasn't being done, hence why it was break fix. It was computer repair because it needed a break for you to call us and for us to then go out and fix it, and that's how we made our money. Um, but I realized that for me, I'm such a relationship-based person, like, um, I wasn't okay with that being the model, especially when you see the frustration that people go through and all of that. So, I figured there's gotta be a better way. People have to be doing it differently. And so we tried. We had block hours at the time and so on and so forth. And we grew that business for 8 years. And then I got accepted into the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. First time ever I had any kind of business education,
Wow.
formal education, blew my mind. And then day one, I came back home bawling my eyes out that I saw where we needed to change. And that led me to, we need to close this business down and shift it, change it into what is going to be of a greater impact to the customers that we wanted to help. And so
Well,
that's,
let's pause there for a second and let's back up
yeah,
the full 8 years. Okay. When you first went out on your own, that very first day, did you have clients the first day? Day one out of the gate, did you have clients?
one,
You had one client.
one client.
Where did you get that client from?
Oh.
You don't have to say. This is being recorded. It's fine.
Well, so during that time, there was a client that was working with the computer repair shop, and they were the ones that were insisting on a monthly agreement. And
Oh,
so
okay.
the computer shop didn't want to take that on as a monthly agreement, and so we said we would,
Okay. So
and that's where it started.
that was your first client out the door.
Yep.
Day one, you had one client. What did you do to get another client?
Oof. So
Because you
early
wanted to
days.
double your clients, right?
Yeah. So early days, we stuck to what we knew at the time, which was continuing the break fix shop, or aspect of it. So I made flyers, and my newborn and my 3-year-old and I would hand out flyers in our neighborhood, as we would walk around, and literally everywhere we would go.
So it
That's
didn't matter if they were a business owner or not. You were handing a flyer to whoever you could put a flyer in their hand.
yes. Yep. Absolutely. Wherever
So
I could.
wherever you went, you had a flyers with you. You were
Yep.
this is for you. This is for you. This is for you.
Exactly. I was Oprah all about it. Yep.
What was that like? Did you experience a lot of get out of my face, you stupid woman, or were most people nice?
I we lived in a city where it's like small town, small town feel type deal. So everybody was really nice. Um Overly nice. Not overly nice. I think it was just like, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, you see a mom with her 2 kids
Yeah,
walking around a neighborhood and handing out flyers like, "If your computer breaks, let me fix it."
and you're all of
So
what? 4'3", you know? I mean, your kids were probably close to the same size as you at that time, right? You said they were
as a newborn,
3
yeah.
and newborn? Yeah. So they were so
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, and that, I mean, people were nice, and, it got to the point where it became too much. There was too many people showing up at my front door, because we were working out of our living room at the time.
Are you serious? I mean, there
Yeah,
really was there's like a lot of people just showing up with a broken computer.
with a broken computer. Um, it, Granted, it was 2008, and at the
Okay.
time, like, I didn't realize what was happening out in the world, and
Yeah.
that fact that the markets were crashing and that all this crazy stuff was going on. So people were looking for ways to save money, and fixing their computer at the time was the way to do that. Nobody had money for a new one, so
And you
fix it.
were a break fix at this time.
And we were break fix at this time.
Okay.
And so we would have people coming to drop off computers, or just computers all over my living room, and I got to the point where it was like, okay, this is too much. And then we decided to open up an actual storefront, which we did.
In
And then a couple
2008
years,
or
so that the storefront was 2009,
okay.
and then 2 years after that, maybe a year after that, I don't know, things moved quick. We then needed a bigger location, and so we moved to a second larger location that was more central in our town. And we continued to grow through community activities. We were part of what's called the Keep Your Town Beautiful programs. So in my town, it was Keep Katy Beautiful, and we did recycling drives and stuff like that. That organization, we worked with the city for all of those things too. We volunteered with local centers, and so we worked with them on education and providing those services for free as well. So we were very active within our community, our local communities, um, and that helped tremendously through those years.
So let's just back this up for a minute. 2008, 2009, you went into your first brick and mortar, your first
Mhm.
office space. Was it in like a shopping plaza?
Yep.
Was it just a small store, a standalone? What did it? Explain a little bit. Give me a little bit of insight. Of what was going through
Oh my
your mind
god.
and location there?
So it was, a small shopping center, owned by a local doctor. Um, he had already retired, and so he had space, with what was his office. And so that's where our first location was. I had a packing play, and a little TV set up for my kids during that time, as they were at the office with me all the time, when they weren't in daycare. Well, they needed to get to daycare at some point in time, but yeah, those early days were insane in that sense.
That's so funny. So, how long did you do that before you moved to the next location? Wait, let me ask this. How many clients did you have at your first location or about?
I couldn't even tell you at this point. I honestly couldn't even tell you at this point. A few hundred.
So, how about when you moved to the next location? What did it look like?
So the second location, it allowed us to have more space, so we had more technicians. We had it was a bigger retail center that was on the main highway of our town. Um, and it was right next to the restaurant where the town mayor would go have breakfast every morning. So very Oh, like, very Cheers-like, is how I could explain it. And so the idea that started to come through at that time was, we're gonna need a second location. We're gonna need, our growth plan is either going to be more brick and mortar locations to continue to serve the community in this way, but at the same time, our monthly recurring or our business practice was also growing. And what I realized was that I was essentially running two different businesses, with two different business models and two different audiences. And so
What were
um,
the 2 businesses?
the retail or the break fix,
The break fix and then the
and then the managed services.
okay.
Before it was managed services, before we
Yeah,
called it
yeah.
that, right? And that's what led me to needing guidance on what next? Where do I take it from here? And at the time, I had no business education. So everything that we had done to date, all the decisions that had been made, and all of that was through what we felt was common sense, through I, my learned skills and abilities because of, um, I like to say, the gifts provided since childhood,
It
right?
was. It was.
Right? And so, at that point, I realized I need a little bit more than what I know. Um, and during that time, there was a client that had just been through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And she came to me and she said, Nancy, you need to go through that program. I feel like that is going to help you decide your next steps. And so she nominated me, And I was like a little ball of anxiety, if you could believe it.
No.
So during that time, I had not driven on the highway. So I was living in a bubble. Okay.
Oh, wow. You were living in this small town.
I was living in this small town.
Yeah.
Like everything was this small town, and everything was so convenient there. But I would not drive on the highways, and I lived in Houston. Like this is a suburb of Houston, right?
Yeah.
So Houston's huge. I-10 is the main highway that is that runs across the entirety of Houston, and I would not drive on that highway for very long without having a panic attack. Um, and so to go to this program, once I got the notice that hey, you got accepted, now there's an interview process, and you have to go to downtown Houston in order to complete this interview. It was like, holy moly, what? I have to drive myself somewhere and then do an interview in front of all of these people that are going to judge me and just decide my future at the end of the day. It was scary as hell. And
And you had an MSP,
I had an
uh,
MSP.
before it
Yeah.
was known as an MSP, right?
Yep.
You
Yep.
had a break fix, and then
Yep.
you had a managed service provider side, the MSP
Mhm.
side of it as well,
Mhm.
essentially running 2 businesses. You
Yep.
had 2 children, one,
Yep.
what, 3 and 6-ish, somewhere right around there,
Mhm.
and a husband,
Mhm.
and you were trying to go do this class,
Yeah.
going for the interview.
Yeah. Going for the
Wow.
interview. It was
Great times.
oh my god, yeah. So this was 2015, so I was 29 by this time.
Wow.
And not only did I was I driving, terrified, um, to get to this place, but then it starts pouring rain. Like, pouring rain in Houston, if you've ever been in Houston when it is
Uh,
pouring rains, I'm talking like torrential, like,
nice.
it's gonna flood,
It
um,
is every time.
every time. That's Houston for you. And so now I'm driving terrified, and even more so because it's pouring down rain. So of course I'm going into full blown panic attack. Get to the location, and I immediately call my ex-husband, and I'm like, I'm having a panic attack. I can't do this. Oh my god. And then I don't even know what they're going to ask of me, or so on and so forth. And finally get calm myself down, and I tell myself I have to do this. If I don't do this, I don't know like where I'm going to be, but this is something I need to do. And so I go in the building, make my way up the elevator, get to the interview, and they ask me a few questions in regards to the business, in regards to my background, and then what I'm looking to achieve within the program. And I make it through all of that. I step outside, and the panic just like melts me. And I was like, "Oh my god. Wow." So I leave, and I think there is no way that I'm going to get accepted because I just totally just failed that miserably. I felt like I stumbled on my words. I didn't know certain answers. I felt like I shook in certain ways, like my voice was shaking, and so much. It was like, this is painful. This is painful to go through. Um, and then the day before, it was the day before my 29th birthday, I got the call that, I got accepted into the program, and I was
That's
to
awesome.
start, in the next few weeks.